Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of I Like Trams. Trams? Yeah, we all like trams. Speaking of trams though, we do actually have a tram here in front of us. So this is actually done by Corgi. And it's actually of the Blackpool car 719 in the Walls livery. As you can see on face value, this is stunning. So I'm really looking forward to opening this up and looking actually at the finer detail. We'll go through a bit of the history of the tram and this car in general, because it actually does have quite an interesting backstory to this one. And yeah, and obviously we'll just have a closer review of the detailed model. Enjoy! So yeah guys, there is the Corgi model of car 719. So they are often referred to as balloon trams, as you can quite rightly see in terms of the design of them, but you can obviously find them referred to as dreadnought classes as well. So realistically they entered in service between 1933 to 1935 when they were built, and they were built by the Electric English Company, or English Electric Company. Now, there are still quite a few in service. Current operations are 700, 711, 713 and of course 719, which we've got right in front of us. And they are all part of the B fleet, which can be used as normal service or heritage services if needed. So yeah, I think just overall aesthetically, as you can see, I think the actual livery itself is really eye-catching, and I think it is just a stunning looking colour. I would have loved to have seen this obviously back then when it did have its livery, but sadly of course it was repainted and it does no longer have this. So the interesting story behind this one is initially that this became the Walls ice cream tram in 1996. Now it had a complete ice cream counter inside, and 719 could be found working on specials between Pleasure Beach and North Pier in Blackpool, but unfortunately the ice cream counter wasn't actually proved as very popular, and this was actually due to the fact that the ice cream counter actually took up a large amount of space inside the tram. So realistically, capacity was very limited on this. And of other issues that you would find with this one is the ice cream could not be left on board the tram when it wasn't out in service. So initially, the ice cream would go off very quickly because obviously the refrigerators and the freezers could not be run unless the tram was actually running. So it had a lot of problems, and originally, like I say, it just didn't prove very popular. So the ice cream counter was actually closed in 1998, and eventually it was removed in 1999, but 719 did actually continue advertising Walls up and down the promenade up until 2006 with increased seating capacity. However, the full seating capacity was not restored until after 2006. And then of course it has been repainted since, and I believe it is sort of like a purpley sort of livery now. But yeah, that's just sort of been a bit of a history. I mean, it's a really interesting story in terms of this car 719, in the sense of, you know, the fact that this was actually a mobile ice cream parlour. I just think is absolutely fascinating, and you've got to think the Walls company themselves must have paid a fortune for this. But of course, obviously, you can actually see it still there in Tramtown in Blackpool. And like I say, it does actually still run. But unfortunately, the chances of this being repainted in this livery anymore, I think, is very slim. But yeah, that's just been a little bit of history about it. So I think what we'll do is, obviously, we'll go ahead and get the model unboxed, and we'll go in for a little closer detail. So yeah, there is the model, guys. Like I say, I mean, it actually breaks my heart a little bit to actually open this, but yeah, I think it's quite nice there in the sense of you've got the Blackpool Tram Company logo there, as you can see, Blackpool Corporation Transport, which I think is quite nice. And then of course obviously you've got Blackpool Balloon Tram Walls 3508, I believe, which is its number. But yeah, I think it's nice. I think it's the model's number as well, by the way. The car's number is 719. And then of course obviously you do just have a bunch of information in the background, pretty much what I've already turned around and said. So based on the 1934 electric balloon trams, this exciting project was born in Blackpool's Transport double-deck refurbished programme. Car 719 was the next in line to be rebuilt in the modern standards when BT's successful bus and tram advertising teams intervened following an approach to Walls ice cream. The car, which now resembles a cross between a Waltzler organ and a 1950s ice cream parlour, is now in its third season of operation on most days in the summers with the rest of the tramcar fleet, but with one major difference. Blacksports Transport believes it is the only ice cream parlour tram in the world. That is, unless of course you know better. I certainly don't know better, but bearing in mind as well, when it turns around and says that obviously it's now in its third season, this was built, I mean, if we do the time deduction, this was made in 1998, so that makes sense, obviously entering service in 1996 in this livery. So yeah, let's just get this unboxed. Really excited to have a look at this one in close detail, I have to say. Yeah, I've wanted to open this for a while, been sort of holding off. And of course, obviously it does come with a little bit of a background there as well, obviously, that you can actually display it. Obviously you've got the plastic there protecting the pentagram. Yeah, there's the first look at it. I do like this, all the old retro signs there, especially considering they're all actually linked to tram signs as well. I think that's really nice off the bat. I mean, I think this is just so good. And look at the little hat there at the front. I think that's amazing. Of course, we're going to have to try and get this off here, which actually doesn't look like it's going to be very difficult, although he says that. And yet, it seems... excuse me a sec, guys, while I try and get this out, because it seems like this is nailed in. And if I'm honest with you, I really don't actually care about the background as such, where it sits on. Really doesn't bother me, it's not why I bought it. So I am going to butcher this a little bit, just so I can get it out. Yeah, and there we go. We are going to have to get the nails out at some point on the bottom, which is going to be an issue. But just for now, I think obviously we could just hold it and have a look. But yeah, look at the finish in this. Isn't this just a stunning looking model? I think the front of it is really nice as well. I mean, with the hat there, Pleasure Beach 719, Walls Ice Cream Parlour. I think that's brilliant. I actually generally do. Pantograph is non-movable. It's just literally static there, but that doesn't really bother me too much. Oh, still got a bit of stuff there stuck to the bottom of it. But yeah, I think it's really nice. In terms of obviously interior detail, you can actually see all the little seats inside and everything, and obviously the poles, which obviously would hold it and customers could hold on to. And realistically, I'm assuming, obviously, if we really sort of go in for it, sort of there, the red bit, I'm assuming would have been the counter. I'm assuming you literally would have gone through the doors and then the ice cream parlour would have been there in front of you. But I just think it's just a fascinating bit of history. And the minute I saw this model and the fact that Corgi had done it, made it out of die cast, I knew I had to have it for my collection. It's a bit of an unusual design in the sense of obviously they've put 2 screws in here. I understand to actually hold it in place in the packaging itself, but realistically, did you have to use screws for that? Could you not? And especially as well, because you've actually got rolling wheels here, which potentially kids could play with. Why would you have screws and make it that difficult for it to actually stand by itself? And it is very difficult to stand by itself. So that's a bit of an unusual choice in terms of packaging. But yeah, it is a lovely model. I can't deny it. Just colour scheme as well, it just really pops, doesn't it? With the yellow and the pink and obviously the Walls logo there. I was actually trying to make out in terms of what this potentially is, and for the life of me I can't really work it out. I want to say potentially maybe like some sort of parrot or something. I'm really not too sure. But yeah, it's lovely. There's really not much more to say on that, if I'm honest with you, other than I love it. So yeah, what I might actually have to do is just put something behind it, just so it can stand. There we go, it stood. And I'm going to keep this brief, just in case it does decide to fall over. But yeah, that has been the review of the Walls Ice Cream Parlour Tram, and just a little bit of a history behind it. Please comment down below if you do own this tram. I have actually got a few more, especially in the Corgi line, that we will be going through at a later date. Won't have those silly little screws at the bottom, so we might actually be able to stand it whilst we're reviewing it. But yeah, please comment down below what you think of this model and what you think of the Corgi line in general. If you do specifically collect Corgi, it's just something I'm slowly delving into, especially with trams and maybe traction engines, things like that. Always consider maybe giving us a like, comment down below, and potentially giving us a subscribe. It is free and it will help out the channel going forward, especially if you want to see videos more like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you very soon. Cheers, guys.